I love it here so much, but I know it's time to leave LA. I don't think it's going to make it. I was told by some woo-woo people that the state of California would be gifted to another people. But these same people told me to get out of LA before January 1st. The California would either break off from America, the state would be gifted to another people. And I was like, that's really interesting. And that it would be ruled by another entity and that it would be godless. I only took jobs when I needed to keep my family going, but never was a part of the whole Hollywood scene and who's who and knowing people high up and trying
to go to a Diddy party.
I did.
You did?
Hold on. I went back when his name was Puff Daddy. I met Michael Jackson at a Puffy party.
Well, do tell.
Right before listen, I don't even care if we're recording this and I say this. The reason why I was 2 minutes late, this is a great intro, by the way.
Good.
Dog, she farted in the bed, I think, because she was laying in my bed when I went upstairs because I took the kids to school. I'd go upstairs and the other dog's like licking. I'm like, wait a second, is she in heat? No, she must have, because it's raining out. So she probably just farted and she sharted in my bed. So my boyfriend's asleep in the bed. You met Robbie. So
yeah,
Robbie was asleep in the bed. So I just put a big towel over it and I rushed down here to you. This is why I'm slightly late. I am so sorry. A disclaimer, I had one drink last night and I feel like my head's going to explode.
Really?
So, yes. When you're my age, you can't drink anymore. It's done.
Stop it. I don't think we're that different of age.
Oh, no, we are. I could be a grandma.
I mean, I might be close. I'm 42.
No, you're still a baby to me. Why you're just still a baby? I'm 53.
You can't be that pretty and try and tell people you're in your 50s. They'll never believe you.
Ah, you're nice. Well, I'm an old lady, but it's good that you caught me on a day where where my head is pounding, because now I won't talk over you, because that's my habit.
I tend to do the same. I've
Welcome
done the same
to 53. That's what 53 feels like all day long.
Well, there's nootropics for that. Don't you take any kind of like brain? I mean, you're into the health stuff. There's things
I am, but I think since I got so focused on what was happening in the world, I stopped taking care of myself a little bit. I think I have
Ironic.
Yeah, I know. I think I need to get back to that.
What did you do before? Like, what kind of things were your jam?
I like everything natural, as much as I possibly can. I have this amazing doctor here, Dr. Burns. We used to not want to call any of these guys out because they go after him in the last 4 years. But
you're safe now. We're safe now.
I know we're safe for a minute. I mean, even though, who knows? So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, he's
Wait, is that the dog that sharted?
No, he was the one that, hi, Lanky. You wanted to get out of that bed too, huh? Everybody wants out of that bed. We're just going to leave.
Like, I might be a dog, but things still smell like shit to me too.
Oh, he's a good boy. Well, you guys come up here and say good morning. Good morning.
Nice.
And no one's going to go out because it's raining today.
It's nice.
They're California dogs. It's like no one wants to drive in the rain. I said to my daughter this morning, don't you want to stay home?
Don't you want to stay home?
Why do you want to go to school? It's going to be pouring all day. She's like, wow, you really are not New York anymore, Mom.
Oh, man. No kidding. New York. I mean, how old were you when you moved to LA?
Oh, my God. I'm still a New Yorker in my mind, but my house in New York burned down in 2015. So I've been here since then.
Fires happen in LA, not New York, darling.
I know. And I can't believe it happened reverse. And then recently we evacuated twice. I was like, here we go again. And I watched my house burn down on the news in New York, because it was a massive, like, whole half a city street in New York City went down. So it was all over it was on the news out here. Big. I watched them try to put the fire out in my apartment, and then I watched the whole building collapse. Like,
the days are getting longer and spring is right around the corner. That means more outdoor activities, fresh energy, and a great time to refresh your wellness routine with a great tasting daily health drink. How does AG1 make it easy to support your body with one simple habit? Unlike other supplements that come and go, AG1 is a habit that actually sticks because you can feel the difference. I've noticed so many benefits since drinking AG1 over the past few years. AG1 can help support your digestion, your energy levels, your skin health from within, cravings, and so many more things. Have you noticed any of these? When it comes to my health, I want something I can trust, and that's why I choose AG1. With science-backed ingredients and real benefits I can feel, AG1 makes it easy to support overall wellness every day. And that's why I've been partnering with AG1 for so long. And AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs with your first box. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/prettyintense and get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/prettyintense to start your new year on a healthier note. Jeez, that stuff's so traumatic. Was it 9/11? I mean, you were there for that then, right?
I was there for that. Yeah, I ran out of that particular apartment. My mom called me and she's like, Dre, a plane just hit the World Trade. Go downstairs. Like, and I ran downstairs and I looked at my boyfriend at the time and I'm just staring at this and I'm like, and then all of a sudden I see another plane coming. I hit the
Oh, you
World
watched
Trade.
that?
I watched it. So the whole no plane theory, I mean, unless it was a hologram in the sky, I mean, I saw it. So, and I saw the other plane hit and I looked at him and I was like, we're under attack. Immediately, I knew we were under attack. And I was like, holy shit. That's just kind of the same way I felt about 7 days after the world shut down for COVID. I was like, we're under attack again.
These things are conspiracy theories, right? And these things are, these things are what you think when you're awake, not woke, right? So that's maybe always just been in you.
I think the truth thing, I think it's like my bullshit meter. Am I allowed to curse?
Oh yeah, all you want.
When I had a podcast years ago, we would have to take everything out. It was a nightmare. It didn't work out for me very well.
I probably get flagged for it, but who gives a shit?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I guess it was always in me, but I was never political. I never cared about politics because I always believed it was just a continuous changing of the guard, just to appease the people, red, blue, Democrat, Republican, just give, a 50% of society what they need and what they want, to give the illusion of choice. And I always sort of just believed that. So I never even dove into the details of any political movements or any of it. I was never a feminist. I mean, I don't even know if I could say that to you. You were race cards.
I'm like the opposite. I'm more the opposite than I am a feminist. It's interesting. I think people would be surprised by that too. But
me too.
I don't know. I'm all about like the word equality it's not the right thing because I also don't think everybody's good at everything gender wise. So I just think that people need to be respected and appreciated for what they're good at and give them all an opportunity. And if you fail, well, bye-bye. And if you do well, great. I've never been a rah-rah girl. Never been one to try and like get more girls in racing. It's just not my thing. Why do you think you're like not a feminist?
I just need to say that you are such a badass and I feel really cool that I get to be on your podcast right now. And I mean, and your smile and your teeth and you're so beautiful, but just the fact that you're a fucking race car driver. I love
lights. There's a lot of ring lights around here, right? You know that? You've been in television and movies and shows.
I have nothing around me right now except for the fucking rain and some dinky little light on my computer. But I've met you.
I was so excited to have dinner with you and it was like, what was that, November maybe of last year?
I don't remember, but we were like at its long table and I was like, I didn't even get to hang out with this chick.
I know, you were all the way at the end.
I know. I had my kids with me, right?
You did, yeah. You had your kids.
Oh, yeah. Blackjack, my son, he was freaking out over all the cars in the parking lot. That place has some freaking cars in the lot.
Yeah, there's a hot spot in Scottsdale called Global Ambassador that's just like, it's like a little mini Vegas here. It's, especially like where you pull up and you get out of your car and the valet's there. It like feels like a Vegas hotel.
I was shocked.
Then you go into the hotel and it's like party is immediately happening on the inside. There's just tables and people drinking. And then there's a restaurant over this way and a restaurant over that way and a restaurant at the top of the building. It's like, it's the new, like super cool spot. And so, I remember we got there and Jessica Krause, which people might know her by House and Habit on social. And she got there and she was like, wait a minute. She's like, I have like, Doc Marten sandals of sorts or something like that on. And she was like, wait, nobody told me this place is like super fancy. And I'm like, Scottsdale, you can wear jeans.
I was probably in sweatpants, but I love Scottsdale. so much. I absolutely love it there. I've been going there since my kids were little. Their grandma lives there. I'm not with their dad anymore, so I don't visit as much. But was I there for Turning Point? No, we were there for Kennedy's.
RFK did an event, right?
I think that was when he was announcing that he was joining Trump, and then we went to the rally.
That was the big one. I missed it that day. I was like flying in that day. And so then I met up with you guys that night. Like I had just gotten home and we went to dinner. But that was the huge turn. It was a Turning Point event, yes.
Oh, it was.
But it was the rally for announcing RFK was going to back Trump.
That was a big moment, man. I was in tears. I mean, when we were at the rally, I just couldn't believe that moment when he walked out. It was, oh, wow. But back to Scottsdale, I was obsessed with a place called Reesewood Flats
Mm-hmm.
and was it Pine? No, Pinnacle Peak. It's like kind of like a big old country steakhouse.
Oh, yeah,
All the
yeah, yeah.
ties are hanging from the ceiling.
Well, why don't you move here then? Why are you still in LA?
Everyone keeps telling me I need to go to Arizona, but I'm not I love the desert. I love it so much. The heat in Arizona, the heat in Florida, like the humidity and the heat in Florida is too much. The dryness and the heat in Arizona are too much for me. I love it here so much, but I know it's time to leave LA. I know in my heart that it's just, I don't think it's going to make it.
California was the biggest swing in percentage from Democrat to Republican, still obviously went blue in the election.
I don't really think it did.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously still a question for sure. I think that if they don't do a good job of finding someone to run it and get, Newsom out of there and Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, she just looked like a real gem when all the fire stuff went down. They're screwed. I mean, if California goes red, forget it. There's not going to be a Democratic president for decades.
Did you see what's all over the news today with I got it before I went to bed last night after my one drink. Maybe that's why my head's pounding today.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was some bad news.
It's the news, the people sending me, because I don't even watch the news and I don't even go on social media as much unless I have to do like a whole ultra free bunch of posts, but people send me shit all day and then I just repost it and I repost it. And I'm like, last night before I went to bed, I got a message that Denmark was going to pay $1 trillion for the state of California in exchange for Greenland, like some sort of deal that they would make. And then she sent me another message like, what the fuck is this? Is this real? I was like, you're freaking me out, because I was told by some woo-woo people that the state of California would be gifted to another people. And this was a while ago. And but these same people told me to get out of LA before January 1st. I was getting intel from like different people, whether it was like military fans or, just people that can feel things, they were like, be out by January 1st. Just make sure you're gone by January 1st. I looked for a new place to live. And so the other thing was the California would either break off from America.
Literally like in an earthquake kind of thing, or just like technically?
They gave me two different scenarios from two different people. Was that it would break off, that it would be geological, that it would be like and everyone's talking about this earthquake that's coming, and we are due for a bigger one. I think there were, I don't know how many earthquakes within the last 3 days, little ones. And when those little ones are popping off, when there's a big temperature drop or increase, it's like a quick one. Those are always sort of signs. But the other thing was that that they said that the state would be gifted to another people. And I was like, that's really interesting. And that it would be ruled by another entity and that it would be godless.
Is Denmark a godless place? I mean, or is this going to be the deal with Russia? Putin's going to get California.
I don't know. At this point, I hate to say it, but like, I have slightly more. I had more faith in Putin than I did in Biden during that whole time. I mean, I'm not going to say I was I won't say anything because I'm always politically incorrect, which is why I was never into politics. My ideas are not everyone else's. But then again,
last night we just got back. Last night they just gave back the guy who was arrested in Moscow for marijuana possession and had a 14-year sentence in the Russian jail or Russian prison. Mark Fogel, and he just came back last night. And I mean, Trump's up at 10:30 at night, fully suited up, like looking great. outside to greet him in the snow. It's snowing in DC and it's 10:30 at night. And I'm like, when do you ever see this, right? Like, I feel like he literally has cameras in his office every day for at least a couple hours. I mean, Elon's in there with his son X, and X is like on his shoulders, climbing around. Like, it's kind of just like a hangout. Like, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
so like the hangout updates from the Oval Office, like who's here today, I
I
mean, it's just
actually love
so
it,
like transparent. It's wild.
but it's not. I mean, I love it, but I think, there's only so much this man can do. As much as like I want this to be the most heroic moment in this country, but he's up against something that is so much fucking bigger than even his billionaire circle.
What do you mean?
I just feel like this avalanche has been put in motion for years. And to stop an avalanche, just a few non-corrupt people. First of all, he's got to play corrupt games in order to get to where he needs to go.
I mean, I agree with
Obviously,
that.
there's no way. I mean, he's going to be compromised at every corner. I think the thing that gets me the most with this, and look, I've been skeptical from the very beginning about anybody who would be allowed to be in power, no matter what. The fact that when we started our brand Ultra Free, it was mainly to, like, in a weird way, I was like, I'll just use this as a way to go on TV to promote my brand, because I know that television will let me come on, like the news will let me speak, and all I'll do is slip in RFK, RFK, RFK. In my own little subliminal way of trying to just insert him. I didn't care about the candidate as much as I cared about the message. And I knew Trump didn't serve the message as much as he would serve it, but then RFK would define it. So that was really important to me for people, because people couldn't relate to the way Trump speaks and stuff. But I always felt like if they're giving him this platform, they're still letting Trump have the platform on at least Fox, at least one network. And he's on every other network being smeared. But at least they're saying his name. They wouldn't say Kennedy's name until he joined Trump. They literally would not say the man's name.
I've basically been shadow banned since I interviewed Bobby in like November of 23.
I'm sure. Yeah, I've been banned same. And now I have a ban lift, but it's a fake fucking lift. Well, I called them out. I went after, I've never like added Instagram or Meta ever. I mean, they're not paying attention, you know what I mean? But I did it because there was one post that was so important to me. And I'll actually really give it a minute here so that your listeners can go and donate to this girl, Lindy. She was military. One of these, like, she's like you. Like, this is like a beast of a woman. Like, she's jumping out of airplanes, rescuing people. Like, Lindy, I think it's Ayers, but her Instagram is Indie Lindy.
Okay.
And it's on my Instagram, and you can see her. It's pinned on my Instagram along with pictures of myself in bikinis. But she's right there in the middle in her military. And they told her if she didn't get vaccinated that she would have a dishonorable discharge. And she was a kid, she's 27 at the time, maybe. She took the first one. She said, fine, I'll do this for my country. I'm going to, I don't want to leave the military. And then the second one, she knew that it wasn't going to feel right. Something just didn't feel good to her about it. She's super faith-based girl, but she's like, I'm just gonna do this. Like, I don't want to leave. And she got majorly injured and can't walk. So now she's getting better, but she needed to raise money. She needed to raise like $45,000 or $50,000 to get her own treatment, because everyone is just writing her off as long COVID, take more medicine, take more big pharma stuff, take more of this, more of that. But nothing was working. It had been 2 years.
Well, I think I saw something the other day. It was like, let's not call it long COVID. Let's call it vax injured. Let's just call it what it is.
Well, I said to her, when you get in there, because I watched all the videos of all the people that were going there because I was interested. And I was like, when you get in there, can you find out from everybody if they're just vax injured? You get the truth that these people haven't wanted to bother her while she's working on her recovery, because she's like taking steps and getting better. But she hasn't shared her story yet, and they blocked her they blocked the post of me trying to help her raise money. And at that point, she didn't have that much money for her treatment. And her husband had to take a leave from the military to take care of her. So they had to give him like a little bit of pay or whatever, but nothing compared to what they need, $50,000, because she needs alternative care. She needs neurological care, all this sort of stuff because it's a neurotoxin. So they blocked that, and I don't know why. And then I went after them and just kept posting over and over again. How could you block money for a military, veteran? It was on Veterans Day too that I posted it. They gave me back the post. They unblocked her because I was like, this is filthy that you guys would ever do that. I was like, come on, Zuckerberg. That's why I was adding at Zuck. I was like, come on, you're one of the good guys now. You're going on fucking Rogan, but you can't.
It was probably last summer. I was in the Amalfi Coast and I saw his boat. Well, one of them. There's two boats because there's a boat that you have to have for the big boat because you got to have all the other boats that are too big to be pulled by the big boat. Anyway, yes.
In his bunker while he's preparing for the end of days and the next bioweapon to be unleashed.
No, I think he was playing basketball. There was like a basketball court at the front of the yacht with some fences around it and stuff.
Oh my God.
I didn't get the invite, but
you got better invites. I loved seeing all of you guys at all the events at the end, at all of it. I'm not one to go to a lot of that stuff. So I watch you guys and I'm like,
why not?
People think I know everybody, like in the whole movement and stuff. And I don't. I never cared about it. To me, it's just like more Hollywood for me. That would be just like another. And I never got into the Hollywood mix. What happened with me was I couldn't act anymore because of the vaccine. So that started, I knew it wasn't like I was working nonstop. I only took jobs when I needed to keep my family going, but never was a part of the whole Hollywood scene and who's who and knowing people high up and trying to
go to a Diddy party.
I did.
You did?
Hold on. I went back when his name was Puff Daddy.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was. He's had like 5.
That's how old I am.
Sean Puffy Combs, Puffy, Diddy.
I met Michael Jackson at a Puffy party.
Well,
if I remember correctly, I swear it was Brett Ratner.
Oh wow.
People are like, oh my God, you're friends with him. I'm like, whatever, man. We went to college together. I have a different experience of Brett. Did he hit on me all day? Of course he did. That's Brett. But, all you have to do is just shoo him away. Just get the fuck out. Stop fucking buzzing around me. So he's one of my old friends. I'll probably get a lot of heat for this too now. Whatever. Who cares? Hate me, love me, whatever. But yeah, I think he introduced me. He's like, you gotta come meet Michael Jackson. He's wearing a fucking glove. And I was like, okay. And that was my experience with Puff Daddy Party. But I did a movie with him years ago.
Puff Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff
Daddy? There was a movie. What the hell movie was it?
Jailbird. Trouble.
Oh my God. I can't listen.
Was there crazy shit going on at the party?
No, these were huge parties. These were massive fucking parties. I was invited to the white parties and I actually was on my way to one in New York, in New York, in the Hamptons, because I used to live out there with my family. And I don't really drive. This is good for you. I don't really drive. Okay.
I could help you, girl.
I really need to drive. It's a fucking problem. I'm such a New Yorker.
If you move to Arizona, you definitely need to drive.
We live in California. I mean, we didn't have Uber here until recently. It's crazy. It's really crazy, especially for someone who likes to be in control of my environment and not be led around by people. And then I'm the person, it's my one eccentricity, I would say. But I did drive my kids to the bus stop this morning. Robbie trained me to just drive to the bus stop. But when I was a kid, I had a convertible Camaro, a 67. I still have it. And I was the only one driving in New York, in Manhattan, with my top down in the Midtown Tunnel, with my one foot out the window, with high heels on,
so cool.
Smoking a cigarette, holding my Great Dane. I don't even know who was driving the car.
That is a photo I wish someone captured.
Oh, I got pulled over.
Would that be so iconic or what? Like heels on, foot at the rearview mirror, cigarette, holding onto a leash with a Great Dane in the passenger seat.
Please do that
bigger than you.
Shoot. You need to do that. That needs to be you in a photo shoot.
Oh, God. No, I think that needs to be you. That was literally your life.
I'm old now. It has to be you. Hot bod. Oh, one of the things we're sending you is we didn't send it to you in time. Vanessa told me that the podcast was on the 21st.
Oh.
So I
What did you send?
The numbers were turned around, so I'm so sorry, but I think Robbie made you a like a work suit,
Oh, cool.
like a pit crew suit,
Oh
but
my
they're like
God.
fancy and nice. But he put like an ultra. We don't make them,
From
but he
Ultra Free, from
yeah
the
he
clothing
do.
line. That is just so
Yeah,
cool.
but
Oh,
we
well,
have
I'll
all.
take a
It
picture
has
of
this
that.
patch on it. Um, it has
Oh,
this on it. But
that's
this
so
is our
cool.
red hat. This is our Make America Great Again hat.
I
Because
love
it's like,
that.
even if you don't want to join, you don't have to join a team. You don't have to be red or blue, but you must make America great again. Please
Isn't it
stop.
crazy that red
California.
just means Republican now? It's fucking wild. Okay, wait, we're back
Everything's
to the
awesome.
Diddy party. We're in New
Oh, okay.
York. You're driving out to the Hamptons,
Well,
to the
my
white
boyfriend and
party.
his best friend were fighting. And they were like, Dre, you just drive. And I was like, motherfuckers, you know I don't drive. And now this was my Bronco. And I did drive my Bronco for years, but all these men in my life would always be like, yo, I love your car. I'm driving. So I was like, all right, I don't care. Just I'll be the chick in the, like I said, I'm not a fucking feminist. So that was that. I got in the Bronco and I backed up into a cemetery gate. I might have even knocked over a corner of a tombstone, maybe. I mean, I was a kid. I was like, I don't know, not that that's an excuse, but like I said, I don't drive. It's the nighttime. We're on these dark ass roads, and I just had a weird feeling, and I was like, let's just go home. I don't want to go. We're going home. We're all in our white outfits.
Smart, you would have been baby oiled, which was just covered in 2CB, and you'd have been just high as a kite doing weird
Not this
stuff.
bitch. Not this bitch. Not me. I would have been kicking ass. They were fighting motherfuckers off of me all day.
Diddy's in trouble though, huh? I mean, we've also got that, what's that? Anna Paulina is going to now declassify the Epstein files as well as JFK assassination. I think there's a big wave of issues coming to a lot of people in Hollywood.
I have so many things I want to say about this. I feel like, well, first of all, do you know who Mike Benz is? You would probably love interviewing him, actually. He's deep in there. I mean, he worked for the government for a while and he's been uncovering a lot of stuff. And he posted something that said, I'm not suicidal, I'm healthy. And when you see things on the Jumbotron that are about to come out, and I don't know if they're going to have him read off the declassifications and what's in there, and because he's been exposing a lot of the stuff for months, for years, maybe. So I wonder if he's going to be the one to go for it. I never thought that they would. I never thought that they would go all the way with all of this stuff. I feel like a lot of it, and this is just me always being super careful and like asking questions. Like I'm not the person who's like, Trump's in, bet, we're good, we're safe, everything's fine now. I don't feel that way. If anything, I felt like things would ramp up negatively in a huge way while we're seeing all this good stuff come to light. A lot of people are going to be out there waiting to undermine anything they're trying to do. I think that's going to happen to Kennedy a lot. I think when they declassify stuff, there's going to be certain stuff withheld. I think the American public right now is on overload. I think that the Democrats that are mentally unstable, not that I'm not saying all men, I'm not saying all Democrats are mentally unstable, but there's a
Nope,
lot
you
of
said it. I heard you. They say it all. They're all mentally no.
there's a
No,
lot
they're
of
no.
mental instability though.
Well, I mean, like those are the highlights. Those are the ones that get those are the buzzworthy ones. Those are the clips. Those are the libs of TikTok videos that we see, right? They're the ones with the blue hair and the, crazy, they just, those are the ones that stand out. There's plenty of reasonable ones, but there's definitely the other end of the spectrum. And I think that's ended up being the problem with the election is that the values and the things that were trying to be pushed on us were just too far to the edge. Like not a lot of people live on that far of the edge.
The whole thing about the Democrats, even I watched Kennedy's entire hearing, the whole Senate
Both
thing.
days.
Yeah, I watched both days. I was really interested to see how they were going to defend themselves. The Democrats. I don't associate. I always considered myself like an ultra liberal. I don't associate with anything anymore because I just feel like the labeling is like just as crazy as a pronoun at this point. Like I don't even care. I don't we the people at this point. I'm from my neighbor. in the community. Watching those hearings, forget about me even saying mental instability and the blue hairs and the this and the that and the ones that get sound bites, because I agree with you. I was saying the same thing as you. But then when I was looking, I looked at a few like celebrities pages the other day. I was going on a podcast yesterday with this chick, Megan McGlover. You gotta hear her. She's fucking hysterical. She's like the spirit animal. She's like Roseanne or like Tucker, like the person who you're like, they will say it all. Like you and I, we're not going to sit here and bash on people. You know what I mean? They will fucking rail because I still feel.
And then they laugh about it and they get away with
Oh,
it. It's like, I just like, I'm so jealous of those people that like, they'll both say things like, and he's absolutely crazy. And then he'll just go, ha, 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 and everybody's like, oh,
I
nice.
know. I love him so
I
much.
said that and just kept annihilating people. I feel like,
Oh, we'd be done.
You know?
I mean, he's been done 100 times, but he's credible and he's proven himself and he's fucking Tucker Carlson. But like
power.
This Megan McGlover chick, she just rips people down, and I go, just do it. She goes, I'm helping people. She goes, I'm trying to help them. She'll say everything that you're thinking. Like I said, looking at some of these celebrities' Instagrams, I was looking at some yesterday because I wanted to make her rip everybody down that I thought deserved a
hit list.
A hit list. Like one of them was John Leguizamo, right? I don't care. Yeah. Because, and it's not that I love him. I think he's fucking fantastic. Like I love all these actors. They're amazing at what they do. And I've always been someone who's like, I hate when actors speak out against with politics. No one wants to fucking hear it. It was cool in the hippie movement in the 70s, the music and stuff like that, even though, now we're learning that all that shit was a psyop too. But
damn Rockefellers and their 440 hertz. Screw them.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah. What is the right frequency? Is it
432?
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a lot of frequencies that are in resonance with the planet. Like 432 and 528 are the most common ones. That's like, I think Earth frequency is 528, but they go up for every 100. So there's like, I can't remember one. It's like 163, 213, 396, 417, no, 432, 528, 639, 714. 863 or 36 or something like that, and like 936 or 63. Wow. Like that. Anyway,
I'm very impressed right now.
I listened to it. I went to bed listening to the 900 hertz one last night. It's like I have two speakers, one on each side of the bed, and I turn them on and it plays for 30 minutes. I think it's 936.
And is that that's a good one?
It's just like a higher chakra frequency. So it's more of like a crown chakra, like, more like, kind of more information from higher realms.
Oh, I don't know if I need any more information from higher realms. I think that I'm on fucking burnout here, but I think I'm going to need you to text me all of the different frequencies and what they do.
I'll give you, there's just like a little cheat sheet code thing.
Yes, okay. I'd love that. Actually now we're jumping around like crazy, but while we're on frequencies, there's been a lot of like unrest in California, people waking up in the middle of the night, tons of nausea, anxiety, 5 o'clock in the morning, boom. And I've been feeling it. And I was like, maybe it's menopause, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But, they're overspraying the skies here in ways that I cannot even explain.
Oh my God.
People think I'm crazy if I bring it up, but
it is not.
And I'm not, because you can go look it up at the Santa Ana Watershed Project. Like they're normalizing chemtrails now. They're because they know they're outed.
I just posted, I was sending a video around recently. Like here's like an example of like what it looked like here one day. Like all the lines.
Yeah.
You're just like, this stuff is not natural. It happens all the time. I'm on the psychedelic board of Arizona to help try and get psilocybin legalized. And one of the other things that we'd like to do is try and outlaw chemtrails in our state.
It's got to be done.
And so there was a woman that posted there was a video I saw on Instagram that I forwarded on to the guy that's in charge of our group. He's a lawyer, and it was a woman who went around and took water samples from those days when they'd be spraying a lot. And so she literally has like water samples, like over 20 water samples of what's so different about the water on these days. And anyway, these are the kind of things that need to be done to get this stuff outlawed. But the chemtrails are out of control. They're just out of control. Like you're trying to you're gaslighting us to tell us that clouds have always looked like that. No, I'm not an idiot. They don't look like lines in the sky.
No,
Stop.
they actually paid a lot of money to have all the old films doctored to include them. It's really fucking demonic.
Are they going to do it like the Mandela effect, where they're just going to go back and change like the Bernstein Bears to like the Bernstein
Yeah.
Bears or whatever it is? And Fruit of the Loom doesn't have a cornucopia anymore. And
These
all of a sudden now, all the children's books are going to have chemtrails in the sky, in the pictures now.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've been saying for a while. As much as I want to have faith in the government and what they're about to do, the changing of the guard right now, if they don't do something about this, I won't believe a fucking thing they're doing, and that everything they're doing is theater. Because this we can't choose. It's the food that you put in your mouth. Okay, you don't want red dye and you don't want this. You can at least choose it. But you want to eat vegetables or you want to eat fruit, that stuff in the sky is going straight into the soil. It's going straight into our water supply. It's contaminating all and then on top of that, you have CRISPR, like all of the vegetables are already being tampered with.
Right. This is the thing that really got me to like go, okay, fine, I'll get involved a little, because I was so pissed off seeing this. I'm like, I used to be able to run. Like, we've been successful in our careers. Like, there's a lot that I can hide from and get away from, ignore, live my life and not get affected by. But when they do that, I now have nowhere to go.
And it's amazing to me that nobody wants to talk about it. No people, like, they get out in the streets and they're protesting, virtue signaling a bunch of bullshit fucking causes where they're using each other as pawns to further an agenda. And then there's this. And I'm like, I don't understand. And for me, with the way I got into this was I removed myself from acting. I wasn't pushed out. I just removed myself from it because I knew I wasn't going to get vaccinated. And so I wouldn't be able to play in the sandbox anymore. People caught on to what I was doing. It was all over the fucking news. I did the OnlyFans thing. That became a whole fucking, because I did it to get myself out of debt. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to lose my house, or I'm going to post pictures of my feet and my ass. I don't care, So
how do the feet do, by the way? Do you know how many times people like, I've joked about that? Like, I have literally said to people like, no, I have an OnlyFans. I'm like, it's only my feet. You wouldn't know. But like, and they're like, no way. I'm like, seriously, like it. No, I don't. But people believe it.
Amazing. No,
so I'm curious, like, go ahead, and I need to thicken the plot for the next time I say this. So like, how much money could I make for my feet?
Oh, I'm sure you could make millions. You could make millions on your feet. It is the weirdest thing. My daughter laughs so much. She's like, ew, because like teenagers, they're like, feet, ugh, gross. Like,
yeah.
But it was her buddy that was like, Dre, we can't lose the house. You guys can't move out of state. You guys have to stay here because your daughter's my best friend. You are putting your feet on OnlyFans, and that's it. And I was like, you're such a little asshole. But I was actually going to do a podcast on OnlyFans, and that's how it started. I set up a whole page there because I was going to do a political podcast on there, so I wouldn't get railed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you can be nude, you can have a political podcast and not get canceled. It's like, maybe this is some new territory for us.
I know. Well, it was about being naked. It's like the naked truth. But I wouldn't have been naked because I'm 100 years old. But still, the whole thing was originally about that. But with getting into all of this stuff, it was really just about, well, I'm not going to go back there. And I have nothing to lose, and I have nothing to protect in my career now because, I know I'm not going to make money this way anymore. Of course, I have to protect my children. And I'm like, do I protect my children by being quiet, or do I protect them by trying to change something? And I was like, then I'm going to try to change something. And it all started with the Children's Health Defense for me with this whole movement, because I'd always followed that page and all of the stuff on it. So when the pandemic happened, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is all man-made.
Why do you think that you'd never be able to make money again acting?
Well, at that time it was a good 3 years of the vaccine. So if you didn't have vaccination papers, then you were, or barcode, whatever the fuck, you were out. My agent dropped me over that. I'm not someone who gets tons of work. I get specific work. People come to me and they offer me a job, but like to have me out there in like the audition world, and I mean, a lot of TV actors still do all that stuff, but it was just never really my game. So I always just waited for one big job that always came. It always came.
Yeah.
So I was fine, but I won't travel for work because of my kids. I just had a lot of stipulations, and I took care of my family's housekeeper. She was my nanny growing up, and she was dying during the pandemic also. And then my mom had dementia. So it's just like every,
Yeah.
but it was really about the old lady Monkey. We called her Monkey. So I was taking care of her for a long time. So I turned down tons of stuff. I even turned down a big job right before they mandated the vaccine. And
Mm.
that would have held me over for 4 years. Had I gotten that job, I think my life would have been completely different. And I probably never would have spoken out. I never would have spoken out because I knew I had to keep a career. I knew I had to take care of business here. And I was afraid. I was afraid anyway.
Mm.
But I think I had gotten so fed up with the bullshit, just seeing it every single day on social media. I just couldn't believe it. And then when I finally had to give one interview to mitigate the whole OnlyFans thing, and my manager wouldn't even make that phone call to return their phone call from, like, I think it was Fox News. I was like, wow, so you're not even going to, I've been with you for 25 years or whatever it is. You won't make one phone call on my behalf because you didn't start the OnlyFans page and you're not commissioning it. And that's what it was. And I was like, all these people suck. Like every fucking one of them suck. I was like, who gives a shit? I gave that interview. You should never let me have I stopped doing press when I was really young because I have no filter. Now all I am is a fucking mouthpiece.
The pandemic and the choices that people had to make based on their beliefs and whether they wanted to get vaccinated or how they wanted to live their life, where they also wanted to live their life. I think we also got a good education on what it's like to have states' rights and what state you live in. I really look at it now as like this was like the universe's energetic opportunity and push for you to go like, you're not meant for this place if you didn't want to do it. And are you going to keep going or are you going to make the change? You can now reflect on that change that you made that was still hard, I'm sure, but you can go like, I would never have this like level of freedom with what I say that I do now. And I also believe that anytime something that's not meant for you that goes away, I think even more will come back to you, because when you're actually in alignment with yourself, it's like a magnet.
I think I always felt like I remember like when I was nominated for an award and I had to go and I was like most people, this would be like the moment of their lives. Like this is the
Yeah.
biggest moment of their life. And I felt so like, even though Sopranos was amazing, like an amazing fucking show and so privileged and so honored. And once I won too, I was even like, oh my God, okay, this is real. And I just won for this. But there was this part of me that never felt, it just felt like there was something very trivial about it all.
Like the
About,
Jim Carrey interview. Did you see that like Jim Carrey clip of him on the red carpet one time and he was
oh,
accepting the like icon award, and I think it
he's an
was
icon.
she was like, you're accepting the icon award. He's like, icon, how low can we, like, how ridiculous is this, like what are we doing? And he basically said like, we're just clusters of tetrahedrons, just that's all we are. And basically he was trying to say like, what is this, what is awards, what
Yeah,
is this thing, like why does this really matter? And
I
why does it
feel
really
like that.
matter when then you have someone that you've worked with for 20 years that won't even make a phone call for you? Like, what's the world come to that, like, there's icon awards and all these different things, yet not like, iconic real people?
Yeah, well, it's just like another version of virtue signal. It's just a continuous. It's just so fake, man. All of it, and then so is the political landscape too. All
Yeah,
of
what
it.
do you think about politics now that you've kind of like been around a little bit, and it's brand new for me too. I mean, I
I'm
didn't get into
sure.
politics until, I mean, mostly until the fall.
I always reference this, and I say it in every interview, but I'll say it again. My boyfriend, my baby daddy, my boyfriend, who was my boyfriend 100 years ago, we had two kids. He did an album called Black Ribbons. His name's Shooter Jennings. And we did an album. We did an album. Listen to me, like I did this album with him. But I was like very involved with him doing it because it was something that was really important to us. And it was during the Bush administration. And he did this like brilliant concept album about the last night before martial law sets in, New World Order It's funny. I promote his album every single day. I might be the only person who promotes his album. He doesn't even promote it. Stephen King narrates it. He's the last DJ. We named him Willow the Wisp. He's the last DJ before they take over and commandeer the airwaves. And he wanted to write pieces of it because he was also against the Bush administration. So Shooter wrote most of it. The album, there's a song called Wake Up. It's all about what we've been living through. And then there was this one song called Summer of Rage. And I wanted to direct the video. So I directed it with him, and it's poorly done, but whatever. We only had a few hours to do it because we needed to get on an airplane. So we rented cameras and filmed. We filmed my 2-year-old daughter waking up, getting out of bed, going to the parents' bedroom, and the TV wakes her up. And the TV's like, "Good morning. Would you like breakfast?" And it's this fucking creepy clown. "We're going to have a good day today." And she goes into my bedroom, "Mommy, Daddy." And the other TV in that room has a big image of me and Shooter with a big X through it. "Mommy and Daddy are gone. I'm here to take care of you now." So she gets up in my bed and she's playing with a puzzle of a mom pregnant. And she's putting all the pieces together, which is life. And then the rest of the video plays out, and it's talking about FEMA building mass graves. You and I, they'll vaccinate. A gas mask is a couture in the Summer of Rage. And she tries to leave the house again, like she tries to open the door, and the TV goes, "No, don't go out there. Look at what I can do." And a car explodes on the TV screen. And then she's playing with the World Trade, she's building a World Trade Center, flying planes into it. So, and then at the end of the video, the TV tells her, "Go upstairs. It's bath time now." And then she's watching a TV in the bathtub, and all this propaganda is and she's naked in the tub watching it, and she's looking at the camera going, "No." And the TV was supposed to fall in the tub with her and basically kill her, would kill innocence. Like that was the whole premise of the video. And fast forward now, that was 2010. So fast forward to the pandemic, and now we're in lockdown. And Robbie, who you met, my boyfriend, his old band, All In Witches, they had an album that couldn't make videos for it or tour with it because of the pandemic and the lockdown. And I go, "Yo, let me direct the video with you for that single called Rats and Ruin," which is not about anything related. But I was like, but I'm going to tell a story. And the story is me and my son now. Now, that was my daughter. Now it's me and my son. And he's wearing a gas mask through the whole video, but it's like old, it's all black and white. We shot on 16mm film. We were locked down, and he thinks he can't breathe. And it was in the era of I can't breathe, between George Floyd. Everything was I can't breathe, which I think is really interesting because it was the beginning of a whole society not being able to fucking breathe, like symbolically in a way. And the whole video is about progress and how man chooses progress over the family, over everything. So Robbie is leaving me in the video and leaving me and my son. And he's always wearing a crown. And then when his dad leaves, he takes his crown off. Like he's no longer a king. But he needs his gas mask and he needs to be able to breathe. And there's rats crawling all over us. The song is Rats and Ruin. And then at the end, I die. And that's Mother Nature. Like she's nurturing him and taking care of him. And at the end, he buries me and covers me in flowers. And you don't know what's going to happen next. That was as far as my politics went.
It's so funny because it's you observing sort of patterns of life, but I wouldn't necessarily call that politics. I would just call that like observant.
But it is though, because of progress. This level of progress, what needs to be done in the name of progress, what needs to be sacrificed in the name of progress. It's just everything has been dismantled and deteriorated and destroyed. So man can get ahead.
Progress of what is the real question?
Now it'll be AI and it'll be that digital dollar. Why is that so important? Control. I mean, all of this, the progress of control, it really always comes down to control. And what they want, what the 1% thinks is the right agenda for the rest of the world.
So do you think that politicians can make a difference?
I think that at a state level, if you really have people who care about their communities, I think there's a chance, but there's always going to be corruption. I really want to believe that Big Daddy D in there that he wants what's right for this place. I mean, even when we talk about Putin, or even if we talk about Xi Jinping, like people like this, who are not our examples of what we like for our country, but the thing that this country lost, even though everyone thinks they're living in this simulation of freedom, is we were giving away our sovereignty. Those two guys are never going to give up the country's sovereignty. They'll work within the system of the globalists all day long, but they're not going to give up their country's sovereignty. Whether we like how those countries are ruled or not is irrelevant. That's their country. Do your own fucking thing over there. Our country, which was the greatest country in the world. Yeah, it once was. But for some reason, the people in power, the super elites that we don't even know who they are, they're not even Bill Gates. Exactly. Like, there are people that are way behind the scenes that we'll never even know their fucking names. Sorry, the dog just came barreling in here with a toy. I got distracted by life. I got distracted by the natural things.
Yeah, the things you're supposed to get distracted by.
I wish we could get back to that. Do
you think that if you believe that our country won't be given up, that we won't sell out, that Trump is going to do a good job and get us, energy independence and all kinds of great things and keep our sovereignty, this gets in the way of the new world order of a one world government? Do you think that makes us more vulnerable to being attacked, to get on board? I mean, think about, like, if you don't want someone to participate anymore, you just kind of get rid of them, right? And seemingly, I mean, always like one of those things that's very scary is nuclear war.
Yeah, that's
a bye-bye war. That's a bye-bye war.
Yeah, that's a fucking game changer. Half of our clothes through Ultra Free are all about that, because that was our initial thing while Biden was in office. It's like, this guy's dragging us straight into a possible nuclear situation. I think that I do want to believe that Trump wants to maintain America's sovereignty. I think he's surrounded by, no matter how slim they make the government, no matter how much, and I think, a lot of this stuff is fun to see. It's shocking, but at the same time, I think it's a slight bit of a distraction too from what might really be going on. I mean, we might be getting rid of all of these sort of like little people everywhere, but the main pillars that hold up that globalist agenda are not going to budge. Those things are not going to move. So he needs to find ways to make deals the way he's probably made a lot of deals with his donors. Right? He's a deal maker, and listen, say what you want about him, especially all of the, the people who have TBS. From what I know, and you probably know this, he's charming.
No, he is. He totally is. No, he's very nice. He's very sweet. He's very friendly. He's very the first flight on Trump Force One on the last day of the
oh my God, you were on there. I forgot that you were on there.
Yeah. We landed in Michigan. So we went from Pennsylvania to Michigan. So went to that rally, then went to the Michigan rally. When we landed, he's sitting at a table of 4. That's always where he sits. He's the chair, seat by the window. Where I'm over on the couch area, we're all able to see the TV. And so it's like Lara Trump and Tulsi and Sage, and like we're kind of all hanging out, and we're taxiing to park the plane. And he just starts asking me about racing. He's asking about crashes, asking me different things. And he's going on, and he's just like peppering me with questions. And like the whole plane is listening. And then all of a sudden, like the plane's been stopped for a while, and all of a sudden he just goes, "Oh shoot, we better go." And like, cause it's now almost midnight of the last night of the rally. And he's like, it's probably 11:30. And so the last rally started at midnight, ended at 2:00, landed in West Palm by 5:45 in the morning. And that's the night. And then on the way back to Florida, I sat next to him for almost 2 hours, probably. I feel like he's got like a little bit of that sort of old school New York mafia, like,
especially when he dances. He reminds me of my dad.
Really?
One of my brothers would hate hearing that because he's an anti-Trumper, and the other one would totally understand. But he's got, I get him.
He's got that like bro like mentality. So he's just like riffing on old fights, like old like, fighters back in like the 70s, and talking to his friend about it, and like, we're not here anymore. And then all of a sudden he'll start talking again, but he's got this commandment within the conversation of what's being spoken about. And
you know what bums me out so much about what's going on is that if a lot of these kids that, not even kids, because it's a 50-year-old liberal white woman that has the biggest fucking TDS, which is truth derangement syndrome, forget about Trump. If they only knew If they only really knew the truth about what they're being fed, even like when I said to you, like John Leguizamo and all the stuff he's posting, and people think that he's, being righteous for fighting for his people and stuff. Listen, the whole immigration thing, I understand where it gets muddy. There are a lot of issues for me that get muddy, but when I was, helping towards the very end of the campaign, it was more about the message than it was about the person. It was more about, you have to weigh the good with the bad here, and we got to make the right decision. My whole thing was, if you pick Kamala, you really are voting in 300 white men to run your world. I mean, I don't know why you think you're voting for a black woman. It's going to be 300 white men, and that's it. And they're all globalists, and you don't know who any of them are. They're all unelected officials. But with Trump, it was the opposite. And I don't think people understand that. Like, he's trying to find a way to manipulate the 300 white men that are sitting in those places, but he's not going to be able to fully manipulate, because they all have him. They're all on top of him. If anything, they were like, yeah, we'll use you to bring in our digital dollar because your people will listen to you. And the only way we can usher this money in is with you. So I do think
I bought 2 Bitcoins, so I hope it works.
I'm not even talking about the Bitcoin. I'm talking about the centralized, the actual
banking,
like biometrics, the whole Palantir, like all of the things that a lot of, because what's happening now is even his followers are splitting up now. Even his own, the whole truth movement, everybody's breaking off into like everybody's divided in one way or another about everything. Nobody can come and get on the same page about anything.
It's okay to have disagreements, and in fact, it's a very good thing. I'm not in favor of not having 2 parties, because you need to have healthy conflict to be able to come up with the best answer. It's just if you can actually work together to come up with the best answer, and then it's never going to make everyone happy. So you need to have someone that's strong enough though to make decisions.
I wish they could see what Kennedy is bringing. Look, Elon Musk, I understand everybody wants to fucking lose their minds over him. He's still a wild card. We're all still just trying to figure things out here, what the actual game plan is. Because he is so knee deep in, he's got to consider a bazillion other contracts and countries and things that he's working on. I want to believe in the goodness of everybody, but at the end of the day, people are always being compromised every 15 minutes. he could turn around and be compromised by someone else. Or I feel like the story is going to keep changing. And that's the other thing with the sort of brainwashing. We call it brainwashing, but some people aren't really brainwashed. They really are just making this choice. And I'm like, but the information keeps changing. Like, I know you want to hang on to this blue party thing because it was always associated with the good, but the information's changing. Like, it's scandalous now. Like, what's been going, not to say the Republicans haven't had a ton of scandal and, corruption. The Bush administration with the album I was telling you about, that was during the Bush administration. Had they only known that this government was just a continuation of that, the Biden, Obama, Clinton, that we didn't know that at the time. We really believed it was a 2-party system. I think this is the first time in the world, maybe, or in our time, that it's not really a 2-party system. Obviously all the conservatives and Republicans that are corrupt are holding him up and want things. They want certain things, and he's going to try to do the best he can within the confines of trying to make us a sovereign country, which the game plan was always to break this country, controlled demolition of this whole country, so that we can, get the whole world on board with this digital dollar. I think that was the end game.
Breaking people. It almost reminds me of like college, like it's like there's like a deconstruction. I believe it's actually Charlie Kirk that said it, that's what professors do in universities, and 99.9% are Democrats, is that they basically like deconstruct, and it's sort of like a method, but there's no reconstruction. There's no building back of beautiful things. It's just a breaking apart of things. And so, that's maybe why you see such struggle within youth today and confusion, is that there's no reconstruction.
The kids were trained to carry the guilt of a lot of the bullshit agendas that they used to divide people. I think, early on, when my daughter always gets mad when I bring this up, but I'll never forget Don Lemon on TV. You're all racist. And my daughter had only Black and Hispanic friends. And I was raised by Spanish lady from Nicaragua. I don't think that when kids are born, they see the difference in, when they're little kids and not really seeing that there's anything different about them and their friend. If they are, they're like, oh my God, look, like we're different colors. And, my daughter was always like, I want that skin color because she was see-through.
Mhm.
But I think back to the whole nihilist thing, I think these kids they think that they're ruining the earth because of climate change. So any trash they throw out, the bottles, the this, the that, I am so in love with this earth. But how can they sit there and preach about climate change when they do that to the sky? That is the number one, that is how you deteriorate the earth.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about blocking the sun. The sun is a beautiful fucking healing. I'm sure that there's some science behind a lot of this stuff, but people that I listen to are not. So
just check out Andrew Huberman. Like get sunlight the first 30 minutes in the morning and like at night and circadian rhythm. And, shoot, us women used to have a whole synced cycle with the moon. Like we were sunk with the moon, like, I love this planet too. And never mind even the technology, like EMFs are something that I feel like I don't like to have as much as possible. I put my phone on airplane mode. I have like chips that block it, services that change the frequency, like that stuff that I feel sensitive to. And we have so many satellites in the sky now that when you look at the EMF grid of the planet, we're just like, we're an EMF bubble.
Yes.
Do we need all this? I think I don't know. I kind of think that over time, over vast time of the history of the planet, I think that humans get wiped out. I think humans get wiped out over and over again. I think we reach some kind of climax. I think it happened probably 12, 13,000 years ago with, the pyramids in Egypt and all of Atlantis and all of those things. And I think something happens and then we start over again because there's so much we can't explain. And, nobody's going to be explain all the like chips that they find someday and all this like metal and whatnot that, was our computers and things. And they're like, what was this? Yeah. They must have built their homes out of plastic and metal. I think that needs to be a reorientation of values,
Yeah, I think that I remember listening to some people talking about, aliens and all of that sort of stuff. And I've heard a lot of people say that we haven't evolved enough. Like we are behind considering what other life forms have been like before us, but we have been taught that, it was Neanderthal or whatever, but I'm thinking maybe other dimensions, other beings, celestial beings, whatever, aliens, stuff like that. Of course, now that I am knee deep in all of the government stuff, everything's being presented to me at this point. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that we don't know. The more I learn, the less I know.
Did you see the thing this morning that I posted something? It said that there's basically a portal that's been opened up in CERN and they're getting interdimensional beings. I'm like, I want to talk to that woman.
Well, I'll tell you something funny. I'll tell you a funny story. My daughter was going to Israel on her school trip that it was right before October 7th. And they canceled the trip 2 days before October 7th, which was weird, I thought. And she switched to Germany and Switzerland. And I would never let my kid go on a school trip by herself that far away, not during these times. I just felt like I need to just be in the same country. She won't see me. I want her to feel independent. They were taking her to the CERN. She's like at a super Christian school. And I thought, that's funny that they're taking her to the CERN. No one wanted to go. Like my boyfriend was like, we're not going. We're not doing, crazy. Just let her go on her trip. Her dad was like, are you insane? I'm like, I'm going to be on that plane. And I am going because it was also while Davos was in session in Switzerland. And I was like, chances are of anything popping off at the CERN while they're in session are not going to happen. But I don't even want my beautiful baby in the same country while all of those people who don't really have mankind on their agenda, they have destruction on their agenda. So I was like, I'm following her. And I went. We were sick. We all had like the flu or the coronavirus or whatever. I got on the plane. She never saw me. And she never saw me through the whole trip.
Did she know you were coming, or did you?
She knew I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We stayed in the hotel where the Davos, Geneva guys moved their convention to a place called the Bergenstock for the COVID-19 Davos meeting. We ended up in that hotel. And I remember just sitting there, both Blackjack, my son, and Robbie were sick. And I sat in that lobby and watched the snow. And I was like, all these fucking guys were here planning the biggest takedown of our lifetime that we've seen, you know, more, even bigger than 9/11 to a large degree, just more insidious, I guess, in a weird way. But if nobody was paying attention to how monumental that was, then people really are just will take anything at this point. But I went to the CERN. The only place I followed her to was the CERN. And I went from room to room where I knew she was. And I stood in the back and she never saw me. She never saw me, but I was literally in the back like this, just watching her. I was like, if this child slips into another dimension, I am fucking going with her. Yeah. We are all going with her. Nothing is going to happen to my baby. And that's my CERN story.
That's the love of a child. Did they turn it on during Davos that time? Because it wasn't that long ago that they like turned it on, and there's photos that make it look like basically some portal is opening.
Oh yeah. My girlfriend was on a flight leaving there as I was going in, and she sent me the pictures of it. You know, but everyone looks at it and they go, oh, that shit's fake. It's like, yeah, that's also like saying that the buildings, the tower, you know, 9/11 was not rigged. The building wasn't rigged for fucking weeks before the event at this point. I don't know, you know, you have to feel it. Like either you feel it or you don't feel it. And I feel like at this point, I trust my instincts more than, so the CERN, nothing. I mean, if you would watch the opening ceremony for the CERN, yeah, they did like an event. I mean, it had already been open. The whole thing at CERN that was the original headquarters for the World Wide Web. That's where it all started. That was the original purpose of that place, was for them to be able to send information back and forth to build the internet, the World Wide Web. And then it transformed into this other thing. I've heard Tucker Carlson talk about it. He must know way more than I do, but I don't know anything really. It's just, I just have a feeling like an old Italian witch, you know, but he probably has intel, and I'm sure it's.
Well, I've heard that dimensions, while we think they're like a distant thing, it's actually more like all stacked on top of each other. And there's ways to go in and out of them. And all you have to have done is some kind of plant medicine to go, I was definitely somewhere else, you know? So, I mean, we believe our cell phones work, don't they? Like, right? We can't see the technology, but we know it works. I think we're in a phase where people are going to continue to believe more and more of the spiritual conversation, the psychic conversations, and the intuitive conversations. And you've mentioned it many times that I feel like intuition has been something that has guided you a lot in your life and that you've really trusted.
My mom used to say it to me, Dre, I just trust your intuition. You're always right on. I'm like, Mom, I'm like 10. She's like, but you're right on. I'm like, okay. But I do.
My intuition says we should do this again because this is like the easiest conversation ever. So I don't know what your intuition says, but this is really fun.
Well, that should be the next conversation, because people have been saying to me, Dre, you're gonna see a shift in people who want to evolve, start to download different ways of understanding things that might not even be where they need to hear it verbally. People are just going to start to feel what needs to shift. And it's not going to be everybody, you know. And sometimes, you know, I think people like, who said it? Brett Weinstein was talking about being awakened to all of this stuff. And he was saying it's the painful upgrade. But it's painful because you are leaving people behind. People don't understand you on some level. Some people don't. But then you start to build other communities with other people and people that are more in tune with the earth, kind of. And the political stuff is just chatter, but it is what we're dealing with right now because it's a spiritual war.
Aho.
Ugh.
Amen. Thank you.
Can you teach me how to drive, please? Like
Of course.
fucking boss.
Of course. We'll do it in my Lamborghini. We'll do the next one in my Lamborghini.
I can blackjack come, my son.
Sure. I'll put him in the back where my dog beds are.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'll take them out. I'll take the dog beds out. But it is true. I have like literally, it's the SUV, the Urus, and it's a sling in the back. And I have 2 like fluffy dog beds in the sling so they don't slide too far around. But yeah, it's gotta be one of the few Lamborghinis with half of it dedicated to dogs.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much for today. And I can't wait to do it again. Thanks everybody for listening to the Pretty Intense podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you heard today and you want to hear more, please click on the subscribe button.